My name is Neil McKenzie, Director of Marketing here at Universal Furniture. In the Learning Center by myself, and Erinn Valencich is out in LA. We're excited that she's been able to get up this morning and join us. We typically would do these events here in our Learning Center. It is High Point Market. It's obviously, as I'm sure you all heard many times now, has been a different market experience, but one that has evolved, and I think everyone involved has done what they can to make this as safe and effective for people to see what they need to see. That said, I know a large number of folks were unable to make the trip to High Point, and we'll actually be showcasing a lot of our new introductions virtually November 16th and 17th. We were excited to launch a new outdoor furniture collection with Coastal Living Magazine, Coastal Living Outdoor. And then we also have a new work from home offering, which is trending. And then we have a new collection called Modern Farmhouse. So we are excited about those, and we'll have all of those available for you all virtually November 16th and 17th. Today, though, we are glad to have Erinn join us and share some of her knowledge as it relates to some of the things I think that everyone can probably take note of in understanding and scaling one's business. I think the last couple months with working from home and leveraging and introducing yourselves maybe to new technologies or different things that ideally can make one more efficient. I think Erinn will have an opportunity to share a lot of that with you today. And we are excited to have her here. And Erinn, I'll let you go ahead and take it over.
Thanks, Neil. Great to be here. Good morning, everyone. Excited to have a conversation with you guys here today. Happy to do some questions if you want at the end, put them in the Q&A. Otherwise, I'll share this presentation with Neil at Universal and you guys can access it later. So we're going to be talking about service at scale and an evolution of process. So quickly, my background, I've been in the design industry collectively pretty much my whole life, but in a few different sides of it. And first, when I was 18, I started working for a lifestyle expert. So we had shows on design. We wrote books on design. We did a product line for Mervyn's, a big box retailer back in the day, bed, bath, and tabletop product, and worked with a ton of large brands on media campaigns, a lot of holiday decorating, entertaining, etc. We had a regular contributorship on the Today Show. So it was a pretty exciting experience, more like Martha Stewart type media-based design. Hitting the wrong button, excuse me. And then when I was 24, I launched my design firm. So have had an award-winning design firm based in LA for 16 years, had a furniture showroom on Robertson, 5,000 square feet, and have a custom furniture line that is all made in Los Angeles. And I'm now working with a number of amazing brands on licensed collections, going to be debuting at High Point soon. Wow, really just keep hitting the wrong button. And then now for the last 4 years, I've been building software all around revolutionizing my own process. As a furniture maker, I had noticed that my company was in 5 different pieces of software. None of it connected. We're trying to communicate with designers, communicate with our showroom sales teams. It's totally fragmented. As a designer, after 12 years in the business, I was like, why is it so hard? Like, we're in so many spreadsheets, so many different ways to communicate. And I found project management just became more and more and more overwhelming every single year. And so I decided to build software just really out of a selfish need for my own businesses. But I guess that's what they say is the reason that new ideas are born, right? It's always about a need. So when we're talking about evolution of process here, I mean, I think today more than ever, we all recognize like, oh my gosh, business needs to evolve. The tools we use to share with people have to evolve. And most importantly, we need to keep our clients connected, right? So how do we continue to push those projects forward and speed up the process? I love this quote from Tony Robbins. Everyone likes to talk about how much money you're making, but how much money are you losing? And as I talk to designers around the country, constantly on calls with them, what's their process? How's it going? What do they use? What do they need? Everybody really focuses on the internal team management and not enough, I think, on the client tools, because that client at the end of the day is the one paying the bills. And we really need to make sure that their experience working with a design firm is as amazing as it can be. And as you start thinking about that process and your interactions, where can you cut back on just wasted time and efforts, right? So I think our problem these days is a slow processes are wasting our time. It's been something that's been around for years. Obviously, I've been on the hunt to build better software for quite a while, and we've done quite a bit this year, which is super exciting. But it's time to really sit back and analyze. And I think as we're going into 2021, thankfully 2020 is nearly over. If we want to be more profitable, we need to spend time where it matters. Right? I mean, 80% of what designers do is administrative, quoting, order processing, order tracking, phone calls, and logistics. And only 20% is spent on our creative and the biz dev. And that's actually pretty much the opposite of where we should be spending our time. So you'll always hear about the 80-20 rule, but I didn't know where it came from. So I did a little research on it. It's called the Pareto principle. So the 80-20 rule was invented by an Italian gentleman in 1906. According to legend, Pareto, an economist, noticed that 20% of the pea pods in his garden provided 80% of the peas. He then determined 20% of the population in Italy owned 80% of the land. The use of the 80-20 rule has since, of course, expanded beyond the alleged humble beginnings in his garden. So in practice, a lot of applications for this, but in business management, I really liked these elements for design. I think it's super applicable. For business sales, 20% of a company's customers are responsible for 80% of the sales. As a furniture maker and someone who speaks with showroom sales teams all the time, I can totally vouch for that being accurate. Also, 20% of the employees are responsible for 80% of the results. So as a business owner, that's obviously something you really need to pay attention to. And here we go for project management, because this is where we all lose money on our projects or make money on our projects, right? Many managers have noted the first 20% of the effort put into a project yields 80% of the project's results. So I think that's really amazing. It's like how you set it up from the beginning, how you set yourself up for success, how you set your project up for success, how you explain to everyone on the team, but particularly those clients, this is how it's going to roll. This is what we're going to do. This is what I need from you to make this project a success. So thus the 80-20 rule can help managers and business owners focus 80% of their time on the 20% of the business that's yielding the greatest results. I've done this with my own firm, really sat down and written down exactly what our process was and where we need to continually be evolving so that we can constantly be more profitable as a company and scale ourselves and be able to take on more projects without working exponentially harder. So I challenge you all, what is your winning 20%? How are you setting up your team and your projects for success from the beginning? I find these days that projects are everywhere, right? Communication, I mean, whose day looks like this? You've got Instagram messages, text messages, WhatsApp messages. People are emailing you hundreds and hundreds of times a day. There's so many ways to communicate and projects are just everywhere. And I think these days, particularly clients want everything lightning fast, right? It is the age of Amazon where we're used to getting things immediately. You can go online and pretty much get any answer you want within seconds. But when it comes to our projects, they're suddenly fragmented everywhere. Communication is a nightmare. So I think it's really important to streamline that process. My goal with StyleRow is giving our teams one place to work. So we spend less time on the boring stuff. So instead of being in Excel and Pinterest and Keynote and PowerPoint and InDesign and Photoshop and text messages, let's communicate in one place and have the project data in one place. So where are your projects? I think you should do that exercise. Analyze the steps of your process, write them down so you can start to figure out where you need to optimize. What is the first touch points with your clients? How are you giving them some sort of welcome packet, or do you, to set them up for success so that they know what to expect and they can be good clients? Write down all the different elements that you do and where that project data jumps to. And I think you'll be really shocked at how completely fragmented our process is. And that will allow you to start kind of chipping away at that and streamlining elements that make it better for your firm and more profitable to run your business. Ask your clients, where do you get the best feedback? What part of the process did they like? What part of the process did they not like? I guarantee you it's not your PDF sharing that makes your clients happy. It's not making them thrilled to get 5 or 6 versions of a PDF and a separate Excel budget. And I mean, it's just as miserable for them. So on the design firm side, if we're in 5 or 6 or 7 places for the project, you're probably giving your client 3 or 4 or 5 places to look right? And these projects take forever. And so people get really exhausted by the end with just the confusion and opacity and so many emails with so many links. So really think about optimizing your client experience first. I think it makes it more kind of manageable as a design firm to think, okay, how can I start improving parts of the process? And what's the most important thing to begin with? Client experience. So how can I streamline that, make that a better process, and guarantee you they're going to give you more referrals if the process of working with a firm is better, right? So you want to build happier teams and more satisfied clients, and that is what allows you to scale. If you don't fix the internal structure first, you can't scale your process. So generally, we're all starting with inspiration into some sort of project management. We've got our project budgets. You've got to share with your client. You're sourcing product from everywhere. Then you've got to invoice them. Then you got to track the logistics and then figure out everything at the end, right? So if that's the normal process, start writing down where your project is and how you can start streamlining that, all with an eye on your client's experience first. Our largest client base these days are millennials. They've surpassed the baby boomers. They are the world's most powerful consumers. So there is so much money out there and so much opportunity. And I bet a lot of us in the design world have experienced an incredible boom due to everyone staying home and not traveling, right? So there's a big opportunity right now and still moving forward because the number of millionaires is up. The real estate market is super hot. So as long as you're not on the hospitality side, residential is booming. And the new normal with our millennial clients, right? And really with anyone at this point, but the millennial says, don't make me wait, don't make me call, and don't make me think. They don't want to be overwhelmed by 85 options for sofas. They want you to streamline it for them, right? And so how can we constantly be streamlining that process to make it even more enjoyable for them? How can you have more transparency with your clients into their own project? They want that. They want to be able to access the data themselves, and that would make them or allow them to not ask you so many questions, so you could actually streamline your process. And I think using better tools for that, super, super important. So if we want to get that 80-20 ratio reversed like this, so we're spending most of our time on the 20% that matters, it's all about reorganizing from the start. So focus on what's awesome, right? Write down where you're winning. And then look at where you're losing. Where are you having a lot of frustration? Where are you spending time copying and pasting data? If you're in Pinterest, email, text, Instagram, WhatsApp, and PDF sharing with your clients, you're going to be overwhelmed. And I guarantee that most of you are, right? Because I know I am. So you want to give your clients one place to communicate with your team. That's the first place to start. And that all comes with setting up the project from the beginning, right? Back to Pareto's principle. If you set up the right beginning, if you do 20% of your project in the beginning right, it's going to just continue to flow down. So build your designs in a beautiful way that saves you time. You need to utilize tools that are built to share and track feedback, because that's all what the beginning of the project is about. If that's an interactive PDF, if that's a platform like StyleRow, MyDoma has client sharing. I mean, there's many platforms out there that you could be using, but I would challenge you all, if you're not digitally sharing your projects and you're putting them in a PDF, stop. It's such a time suck. It's such a waste of time. And nobody enjoys looking at PDFs. They don't care if the fabric is layered with the chair image. I mean, if you think about being a client, if it's their first project, they only know what you're giving them. They don't know that they need some layered PDF that took your office 45 hours to combine, right? Now, if you're talking about visualization, that's something else. 3D renderings are becoming the new normal, and we'll talk about that at the end. So you want to be able to share with your client in seconds. If we want to streamline our process, and the most important thing is getting product in front of your clients so that they can say yes and they can hit buy. They're used to buying on Instagram, right? They're used to clicking to buy. So utilize tools that allow them that same feeling, and they're going to feel like, oh my gosh, my designer is so hip. They're so on top of it. It's such an enjoyable experience. I can just hit this link and get into my project and communicate with the team and approve products in one place. That's way better than, PDFs and Excel budgets and links in emails. Trust me, I talk to a lot of clients all the time, and I always ask them, how was your experience? And they all go, oh, I love my designer. I love the end result, but the process was miserable. And we shouldn't have our clients saying the process was miserable. So you want lightning fast purchase approvals from your client, right? We all make money when your client is spending money, when they are buying. So you want to be able to use a software, and this is a view of our client dashboard. so that you can track all of your client interactions in one place. You can get their feedback, they can communicate with your team. And the best part is it's not in your cell phone where you're then having to regurgitate this to your entire design team and you're now being the bottleneck for the rest of your team doing work. This is another part of speeding up our process so we can scale ourselves. If you're a bottleneck because you're in the middle of the communication chain and you're not like full-time just regurgitating data, which why would you want to do that anyway? Again, use better tools so you have team transparency into what your client liked. So if you're thinking about speeding up your process and purchasing faster, those things are definitely going to help. But there's some other things that are more back office organization that I've done that I've found have made it so much faster for us to be able to design. And not that you don't want to spend time on the creative, that's not it, but you don't want to spend time hunting down a photo of something that you saw at market and you're like, I love that thing, where is it? Right? That's not enjoyable. That's not a good process. So I encourage you all to build a team library. How can you put all of your products that you love in one place? You know, if you're using Dropbox, that's a start, but use team tools that are going to allow you to quickly find those products that you love. Save all of your quotes into a central repository, not an email. Again, if you have a team, think team transparency, but also organize yourself. And if you spend a day reorganizing everything, but then you have tons and tons and tons of efficiency moving forward, that's worth it. If you spend a week organizing yourself, but then when you go into a project and your client's like, I need table lamps, you could send them 10 table lamps that you love in 5 minutes. I mean, the chances are they're going to be like, yes, I love that order, right? But when you take 3 days to find table lamps and get quotes and put it in a PDF and send it to them, they're kind of over it, right? You need to strike while the iron is hot. Tagging your photos that you take at market or as you were shopping around or anywhere, even products that you save online. If there's images in Pinterest and images in folders and you have no idea where they're from, do that work up front so that you can easily find them later. Because if you spend time reorganizing your sales ability, right, you're going to be able to sell so much faster. And I know so many designers, we take tons of pictures and then they think, oh, I'll remember where that's from. And 6 months later, a year later, you have no idea, but you know you saw this table somewhere and now you're on the hunt for this table. And you waste 20, 30, 40 minutes, 2 hours digging for it. That is such a waste of time. You could be making money and instead this is where you start losing money. So also think about your client-facing documents. How are they being shared consistently? As we're talking about our client experience today so that they're happier, they refer us more business, we are streamlining our back end so we can take on that business and be able to provide product to our clients fast. That's what they come to us for. They come to us for beautiful projects. And those products we use and how quickly we can get it into their house is a direct correlation to their happiness level and how much they're going to spend if you can do it faster. I've heard from a tremendous amount of designers these days, lead time is everything. Everybody wants in stock. Nobody knows what's happening tomorrow in the world, so they want their house awesome today. So lead times, you see a lot more brands doing quick ship programs, expanding their quick ship, offering product to be sold off the floor, which is great. So think about how you can also organize yourself that way. Do you organize your folders and your products by lead time? You should be able to just filter in your product library, which you can do on StyleRow. If you put all your product in there, you can just filter by lead time, you can filter by brand, you can filter by color, and you can get your products that you love lightning quick and put them in front of your client. The other side of that, right now that we've shared product, it comes to the financial tracking. And this is where designers also, we have so much work that gets piled on because typically we're tracking 4 payments, 4 financial transactions for every single order, right? Deposit from the client, deposit to the vendor, balance from the client, balance to the vendor. I was chatting with a designer yesterday. She's a one-woman show, doing quite a few projects, and she keeps an Excel document where she, writes in all the invoices she just paid. Then she has to go into QuickBooks and create the invoice, and then she has to send it to her client. Then she tracks it again in Excel, but she's also tracking the payments through QuickBooks. I mean, so many places to do things, right? So we really want to streamline our back office as best as possible. 80% of designers are in Excel, often 3 to 4 spreadsheets per project. Nightmare. In addition to QuickBooks and other accounting platforms. So when you wonder like, gosh, where did my time go? What have I been doing all day? Everybody knows how hard it is to bill, right? And a lot of designers get behind on billing because they frankly just don't want to do it. And so if you're using processes in your office that are painful, that you don't want to do, change, use different software, create a new process for yourself. When you start listing out all of the touch points of your project, what software you're in, how many times you guys are going back, or how difficult things feel, those are the areas you want to optimize and make sure that you can also streamline that so your office is a more enjoyable place to be. And think about the client on the other side. If they're getting 25 invoices for a project and the numbers are changing and it's all over the place, you know, they overpay, they underpay, it becomes a real pain in the butt. And they all want to pay with credit cards these days too. So starting to figure out how you can be in softwares where they can just click to pay, they can use their Amex, get their Amex points, right? Build that into your process so that it's easier for them. They all want digital freedom. So today's client expects service, connectivity, transparency, and personalization from their design professional like never before. They want to be able to love the process, refer you business, but be able to digitally access their project at all times. So the new mentality of our younger designers and clients is, frankly, clients are frustrated by those broken processes of old paper pushing design work, right? They don't want to interact that way. They're frustrated by the lack of transparency and the lack of efficiency in design. I chatted with a client a couple weeks ago. He took all the designs his designer was sending him and put them in a Google Doc for her. That's not his job. You know, if your clients are inundated by a ton of links, like close your eyes and put yourself on the receiving end. It's really easy to be doing your daily work and just not think about it and throw a bunch of stuff out at someone, but think about what it's like to be the receiving end of that. And if they're the ones paying the bill, you definitely don't want to be overwhelming your client, nor do you want them to be putting your work in a Google Sheet so that it's more efficient, so they have transparency and they have efficiency, right? The digital face of your brand should also be the most important aspect of your business these days. Instagram is more important than your website. By 2025, millennials will be 75% of the design office. So if you're hiring teams, not only are your clients getting younger, our design office is getting younger, and they also do not want a frustrating, broken process that they have to do in the design office. So using better tools is so important now. Just rip the Band-Aid off and get used to it. Millennial designers shop online first and frequent brands that make it easiest, right? Universal has a great e-commerce website. I mean, it's so important. You've got to have great sales tools. So we expect that from our brands, but our clients expect that from us, right? If you're frustrated in 3 seconds when a photo doesn't load on a website, or you can't get the info you want, you can't get pricing online, do you continue to shop that brand? I know I don't have to call a human to get a quote. I mean, this is like so old school. I need answers now, and I need them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Millennials avoid making phone calls like the plague. Studies show that millennials would rather have a data plan with no voice on their phone, meaning they can't make phone calls, but they can use text messages and they can get online. They'd far rather have that than voice only. So if you are still leveraging phone calls for your business, you need to realize that your clients don't want that from you. They want to be able to access their projects any time of day with transparency and efficiency. Another great quote from Steve Jobs: innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity, not a threat. If you think about Apple and what a great innovative company they are, I mean, they're constantly innovating their product, right? Almost sometimes where you're like, why is there another iPhone already? But that's how they're a market leader, right? If we take nothing from them, but that is their willingness and their love of innovation, that's why they're ahead of the game. And so looking at our own process, how can we innovate to make it more enjoyable for the entire team and also for our clients? A great quote from Peter Drucker: business has only two functions, marketing and innovation. When I first saw that, I was like, that's not true. There's so many other things. But when you think about the 80-20 rule, what is the most important aspects of business? Marketing innovation. You've got to get your word out there. You've got to let people know you're there. I know a lot of designers want to know, well, how can I get more business? Are you using Facebook? Are you using Instagram? Are you using Pinterest? Are you using LinkedIn? Great free advertising. But if you put in a little bit of money and start boosting and sponsoring your posts with the goal of acquiring clients, not just acquiring likes, it puts a whole different spin on your marketing. And there's some really affordable ways that you can be reaching out to get more clients. So once you've it revolutionized your process. You're using better software. You're ready to share more with clients. You can present a design far faster than taking 3 weeks to get quotes and transfer it all over into some PDF to send it to them. You've streamlined your back office so you can take on that more work. How do you go get those clients? Only 1 in 10 that could hire a designer does. So what I read from that is there's 9 other customers out there that want to hire you. So you've got to market to those other 9. And there's, of course, many different ways these days to scale yourself. You don't have to just take on those one-on-one, high-touch, large projects that require a tremendous amount of management time. EDesign, something a lot of big designers are doing. So I think it's a really interesting thing to think about. How can you scale yourself? How can you do smaller design packages? It's also a really good way for clients that might be hesitant to hire you to dip their toes in the water, right? We had a client request an EDesign package from us, and we were like, sure, we'll talk about it, no problem. We'll do a reduced fee, reduced amount of work. We do the design, we hand it to you, you manage it. And we got on the phone and they were like, oh, well, we actually, beyond this bathroom that we're talking to you about, we want to do our living room, our office, this and that and the other. And could we add on more services if we find we need them? And I was like, absolutely. So it's a great way to offer kind of an introductory price point to your firm and then be able to scale the amount of work because you're either doing less of the back office or it's great lead gen. You get to test out the project, you get to test out and interview the client. And if you like them, you can continue doing more for them and vice versa. So mobile shopping is on the rise, right? Instagram has 1 billion monthly active users and 60% of users first heard about a product or service on Instagram. So if you want to get more clients, think about how you can easily sell to people on Instagram. That's not full scale, high touch design jobs, right? It's just not, you don't just click a button and have your house installed. But with that concept of e-design or packages, you certainly can. Or your own e-commerce store. There's so many great ways to be able to package up product that then you can deliver, or I should say you can sell and it can drop ship. So there's a lot of different ways to look at that. At StyleRow, that's something we're definitely thinking about, how we can leverage our tools to let designers curate their own e-commerce store and not have to do any of the back office. But there's a lot of interesting ways out there that I think we can scale our services and offer to different people. If you're looking for another way to reach great qualified clients, LinkedIn. Very few designers actually market on LinkedIn, but there are so many wealthy, young, savvy professionals that probably have just bought a home or their third home these days because people aren't traveling. They're buying vacation homes and lake homes and cabins to be able to get out of the cities. So there's a lot of wonderful qualified clients. It's the most used social media platform among Fortune 500 companies. So if you're not on LinkedIn, you really should be. And then let's get to the next visualization kind of revolution, right, is selling better and faster through visualization. So 3D renderings have become so affordable. I had a call with a company, I believe they're called All 3D, ALL 3D, and their cost to render a room or a piece of furniture was shockingly low, and they did a beautiful job. So if you're thinking about maybe doing some e-design packages, or you have a full-scale client and you're not rendering spaces for them, I've heard just nothing but raves from designers that do this. I used to always just say, oh, well, it's thousands of dollars per room. I don't want to waste my time. And if my client really, really, really needs a 3D rendering, we could get one done. But the designers that I'm talking to that do this on the regular, they're more profitable. They're able to sell more to their client because the client can visualize it. And it's like a shiny new car. They think it is so cool and special, right? It's like, ooh, look what my designer did for me. It feels personal. It's beautiful. It really shows off your abilities. And so I think leveraging that is so smart, especially as the pricing has come down so much. So there's some really great companies out there that do it for you. There was another one I just got introduced to this week. I have, they were probably the best renderings I've ever seen. I'll try to include it in this PDF when I send it over if you guys want to do that. But I also know from some furniture brands like Hellman Chang, Eric renders every single custom piece of furniture in like a day and sends it out. So I think that's absolutely amazing. And he says he sells so much more. His sales conversions have gone up just by using the visualization. And then I saw this, excuse me, on Business of Home today. This room isn't real, but does it matter? I mean, there's so many incredible ways to design the projects of your dreams. If you, as a designer, which I know I struggled with for many, many years in the early part of my career, is not having pictures of the types of homes that I'd like to design. Water break. Now you don't have to wait for that dream client. I mean, this room is amazing. You could render this box, pretend you got this house, right? And it's empty. So you could have this room rendered and then design the interior and then use those images on Instagram, because now it is your work, right? You don't have to worry about, oh, I'm only sharing other people's pictures and it's not me, but it's what I'd like to be doing. Well, spend a couple $100s and have some renderings done. I mean, they're so affordable these days, and you could be literally leveraging and differentiating yourself just by leveraging the beauty of visualization and technology. And that's a way to really scale up your ability. If you want to get hotel jobs or hospitalities or anything like that, they want to see that type of work. Now you can render it. If you want to be doing modern luxury residential, but all of your projects are like beautiful traditional, do some modern designs and have it rendered. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. We've been doing that for new furniture designs for ERINN V for many years. We don't build a prototype first. We do the CAD drawings, then we render it in 3D, multiple angles, see if we like it. We'll send it out to our sales teams and let them start selling from renderings. And if designers love it, we go and we prototype it. But it's just a great way to be able to explore some new ideas. So in closing, since 2000, the number of millionaires globally has grown 170%, while the number of high net worth individuals over 50 million has multiplied 5-fold. And the one need they all share is decorating their home, or in many cases, their multiple homes. It's a great quote from Forbes. There are so many clients out there, particularly now, that want you. They want your services. So I hope this has been enjoyable and a little informative and got your wheels turning with some new ideas. If you'd like to check out StyleRow, you can get your complimentary account at stylerow.com. And if you have any questions for me, you can email me, Erinn at StyleRow, ERINN at stylerow.com. All right. Thank you guys so much. Let me check, see if there are anything in the Q&A. Nope. Okay, cool. Well, Neil, I really appreciate you making this happen.
Yeah, thank you, Erinn, for your time. For those that were listening in or didn't have a chance to make it, we will be sending out a recording of this later in the week, and we'll also have this content available during our virtual market November 16th and 17th. So everybody stay safe, and thank you, Erinn, for sharing this tips and insight, and we appreciate your time.
Always a pleasure. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.